Favor, away!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to ChrisCast. It is the first match of the new season, and we're here with all the hype. Two behemoths fighting it out in week one on a classic map.
Really excited for the new season, and we got a banger to start it off. Obviously, as you said, the second place and first place teams from last season.
Supporting the channel helps pay the production and casting staff. All of the people who do the work for ChrisCast do get a nice little bonus for helping out. This is season 24 of ETF2L Highlander. It is a big game for the first match of the season. It is going to be Super Dickmann's KANNONEN SDCK versus Feila eSports, a repeat of the grand final, and you have a repeat of the casters. It's myself, CeeJaey, and I'm joined by Dave and Wiethoofd on the production. It's going to be PL upward. We're going to have Feila in the blue attacking first, SDCK in the red. I'm going to run down the SDCK roster here, Dave. It's pretty much the same as last season. May on Scout, Jackie Legs on Soldier, Yahoo, I'm not going to call him Daddy, Yahoo on Pyro, Murphy on Demoman, Poker has joined us heavy, back again after missing a season, Clark on Engineer Gedu on Medic, Redlix is on Sniper, replacing Kazarok from last season, and Mezzo is on Spy.
Yeah, and for Feila, of course, we have BB on Scout, Satan on Soldier, Pyro will be Grip, Joanne, of course, on Demo, Dick Sauce is their new heavy, Engineer is also a new player, Wombat, Layla on Medic, as always, Kuroi on Sniper, and Axio is back on Spy. There was actually a little bit of a question mark whether he was going to play this season. Ajay had played a few scrims, but it seems Axio is very, very much back.
Yeah, interesting to see how these changes will happen. I saw the show. Did he get air shot there?
He got air piped, I think, by Murphy, and then he landed perfectly onto where Poker was standing, back on the cliff, and just instantly died. So he can't do the Kado rollout.
That is the thing when you play against the same teams over and over again. You just know what people are going to do. As the suicides come in, they do not get the force onto Gedu. In fact, it's Yahoo with the reflect pipe. He's going to take down Joe. Joe not having a very good time so far of it. Just knowing what he does, SDCK have adapted and positioned themselves in a way to deny him having, the effectiveness that he likes to do, just jumping in behind, going through that teleporter, going for a spawn campus. The Uber is used very, very early here by Feila. The counter is going to be much better from Gedu. He's actually trying to lead his players forward, but no one really seems to want to be aggressive. It's now Yahoo trying to peek, but Dixos is there just laying down the pain, gets a lot of bullets into the face of Murphy. Then Grip is forced away. A lot of weak players, so many weak players here on Feila. They're all under 100 HP here, having to heal up, and somehow SDCK haven't cleaned them up here, Dave.
Yeah, SDCK, they're just not as aggressive as you often see on this point. They're just sitting back, able to absorb the damage. It did mean that Feila didn't actually lose too many players there. As you said, they all went really, really weak, but there's no Scout, no Soldier going aggressive to clean up. I am seeing Jackie Legs is getting towards the Contra now, and both teams are back towards Uber, but Feila have a little bit of a grace period now where they can get some pressure in. They've got a lot of players up on this hill. Kuroi's going for something quite aggressive and very, very passive from SDCK right now. Very passive,
but they're getting the picks and the damage that they require. And Redlick's there with the snipe onto Kuroi. That's going to be a full kill streak for him. And Uber is used again. Big trade coming in here. SDCK just not in a position to follow up with Redlix. He's going to take down Joe, and he's an absolute collapse here as Murphy with the pipes takes down Layla. 7-6 rather down for Feila right now. Only May and Mezzo, the two M's, going down for SDCK, and they'll be happy to trade a Scout and a Spy for pretty much a team wipe there. Layla dying means huge advantage for Gedu. I was just going to say, Grip was trying to get aggressive there, and Yahoo just peeking around with that shotgun, taking him out. He's not afraid to come around this corner, and everyone else just seems to be happy to soak up the damage here. Redlix is sniping away. He's on a 6-kill streak now, and as long as he keeps doing that, it's going to be very hard for Feila to push across the top of this point.
Yeah, they're really struggling right now. They're able to get the sniper in position, but SDCK doing such a good job of just playing outside of the sniper sightlines that Kuroi isn't able to get too much. He does ring off a headshot now, but still no frag, and Redlix will pick up the counter snipe. So again, lots of players down for Feila, and SDCK really prime position here. Feila can't get going whatsoever.
Yeah, they really need that big pick, that initiation. Maybe get the sap on the sentry, take down Clark. get the force onto Gedu early, something like that. We hear the conch coming out from Jackie Legs here, and they're going to go forward, get a lot of damage down to Digsource, which is going to force that Uber, and then it's a better Uber for Gedu again, and it just plays in behind. You just see Axie going down, Wamba going down. All of these players are getting picked off while the Uber exchange is going on because the rest of the SDK players are being aggressive. Redlick's on a 9 kill streak right now. Mezu sweeps in for the backstab onto Layla, getting that kill onto the medic again. I don't think Gedu has actually died so far in this match. Redlix is on a 10 kill streak. Layla 2 deaths, just respawning in the queue now. Feila are just really struggling. They're not getting any openings whatsoever, and SDCK, like you say, Dave, they're being so passive, but they're soaking up pressure and getting the right kills at the right times.
Yeah, Redlick's up to 11k there. May does go down on the flank. I mean, there's been very few frags at all from Feila so far. I think perhaps only 3 in total, and Redlick is just absolutely dominating. They don't seem to have a sight on him whatsoever. Axio is like, he is in behind. Oh, but Layla goes down again. This time Redlick picks her up as she's trying to run away from Mezzo, and it's really, really desperate here for Feila. They need something very, very soon.
Yeah, I mean, less than 60 seconds, there's less than a minute to work with here. Otherwise, Feila aren't going to capture the first one. But finally, Redlix has gone down. 13 kill streak is going to be the maximum for the time being as Karoi gets the snipe onto him. But there is an Uber disadvantage here. And look at the damage from Murphy. Takes down Karoi and Grib. The Uber is going to be used onto him. They can't catch Layla though. So maybe with Sniper down, this could be an opportunity to Feila to just get the pressure. They do get Poker. They have taken down the Sentry Gun. And yes, that is finally going to be it. SDCK backing off to the next point. And they've also lost Murphy as well here, Dave. So the players who are alive are weak and they just don't have the denial right now.
Yeah, CeeJaey are opting to at least put up a little bit of presence on this second point, but they don't have a lot of the players they want. Jackie Legs is down, Murphy is down, Yahoo is briefly down, so there's absolutely no spam as an option coming out. We see a crits coming up. Oh, but Layla goes down, May flanking in behind, so no crits up for Joe. And suddenly, while they do get a lot of pressure down in this second point, it is going to be difficult for SDCK to contest. They are going to get a large Uber advantage. And to be honest, the cart is really, really far back, so if SDCK opt to, they could go and contest this.
Which they are going to do. You called it, Dave. They go in with the Pyro Demo Uber. Yahoo manages to get 2, takes down the Heavy and the Sniper here. This cap still hasn't gone down. Jackie just launches in, takes down Joe. Ripples gets cleaned up here. But Wamba is doing some decent job here, gets a couple of kills. And BB is going to manage to get that cap done. And Clark, the furthest person ahead on his team, dies trying to clean up a kill there, and that may mean no sentry for third. And an Uber disadvantage here, Dave. So maybe a little bit of misplay from the SDCK captain. Murphy also died during all of that. So now Feila maybe have an opportunity to speed this up a bit and get some of the time that they've been losing. But no, Layla! Mezzo gets the backstab.
Yeah, comes in perfect as always. Absolutely perfect timing on that man. That is why he is, I think, MVP of last season and of course Spy of last season. We are seeing, you know, Feila are, I have to appreciate the hustle that they're putting in. They are moving this car super, super well. Layla has gone down pretty much every time they've pushed, but they are just about moving the car as they would want. You're going to see Wombat going to come in from the flank, but will get cleaned up by Yahoo. He is on point, and there's a lot of position here. Redlix is going to get caught out in Banana. Not as many players as SDCK would want to contest this, but they are up at the Uber and they are going to use it now.
Yeah, May is actually just running forward and takes down Satan. Yahoo is going to try his best to get some kills here, but no, the mini sentry actually pins him against the wall. Layla and Grip were very, very weak there. If he managed to get the kills there onto you know, Demo Pyromedic, that would have been amazing. His team could have regrouped to maybe hold on to third, but as it is, SDCK are now on their last with an Uber disad, so they have to really think about things here. Layla at 100% hasn't had an Uber for a while now. And SDCK pushed all the way back to the last. When you consider it was about 5 minutes for the first point, Dave, 2 minutes and 30 seconds or so for the next 2 points is pretty fast going.
They seem to have warmed up a little bit. They've got a real bit of a roll going now. They are up at this 100%, trying to take it in. This pressure's coming front stairs, but the Uber is going to come in through back stairs. BB chasing really deep. He's going to get onto Degu. Easy frag for him. They've got complete control of this upper area. Kuroi is down, so they can't really get the sniper in position, but Redlix is sat all the way back in spawn. The car is moving along nicely, but it's still a long way back, so there's a lot of time now for SDCK to control this upper area. Mezzo picks up Dixel, so Lelu is completely alone right now, having to drop down to cart, but will the spawners come up in time for SDCK?
This is all going to be about clutch plays now. BB and Axio on the cart. May dancing around, just trying to buy some time. Mezzo gets two against BB and Axio as they're trying to push the cart. Now it's Yahoo's turn to try and kill Wamba, who's pushing. And again, it was just caught between, you know, what to do there. Did you go left? Do you go right? Do you go up? Do you go down? Feila? Not sure whether they should hold on to the spawns or try and push the cart. And they split their defenses too much. Joe is now on the cart with Grip. Gets taken down. Grip gets taken down. BB comes in. And Mezzo manages to get the bags down onto Layla, the shank onto BB, and this cart is staying alive for SDCK for a little bit longer. And I have to say, a bit of a misplay there out of SDCK. I felt on last week they were holding far too aggressive, knowing that Feila had an Uber ad. Feila did everything right, but it's again the big plays coming out of the individuals from SDCK that saves them when they're trying to push the car here. And Feila now look like they're going to make the mistake of just trying to barrel on forward when SDCK have the Uber advantage. They've lost a few players here, but Jackie is going to come in on the Uber. Joe's gone down to the rankled sentry. Layla is really far back, trying to stay alive and has lived to fight another day. Satan surviving there with about 5 HP on the dispenser, but now another Uber advantage push here potentially for Feila.
Yeah, they're trying to pressure from main right now. Really, upper is completely unoccupied other than Jackie Legs. The soldier's such a powerful class in that upper area. You can just completely dominate the cart. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Feila to cap this cart, you know, when there's a gun up. I mean, it's only a mini, but there's a sniper as well, and of course Jackie Leg's able to rain down so many rockets, so much damage down on that cart. It's going to be difficult to cap as much as they commit. The Uber is going to come in, but there's really no target for it. They obviously didn't have the information that was completely unoccupied. Grip now going in for a little bit of an aggressive play, getting pressure into the spawns, and SDCK kind of pressured back quite far, but they are winning the damage trade, it seems. May and Clark fighting on the cart, clean up the gamers that they require, and there's still a lot of spam coming down on the cart. At one point, we'll maybe push it with the heal beam on him, and they do just about get it in 1050.
Wow. Okay, let's catch our breath there. Yahoo fell into the pit. May out DM'd like a couple of people on the cart. Wambert caps. I think you put the nail on the head there, or hit the nail on the head, however the phrase goes, about Feila just Ubering into kind of the void. You know, just going in. I think that's kind of inexcusable. You must have the information. You must have cleared sections of the map. You know where the combo's holding. So just to use the Uber blindly in the same position, sure, if SDCK were holding there aggressively, then you managed to destroy them. But the difference is SDCK learned from their mistake the first time around, were holding passive, and, you know, you kind of waste your Uber. So Feila there, still getting the round, but a bit of a misplay. I don't know, 1050, it's a long time. They definitely won't be happy with that, but what really went wrong there for Feila? Like, it just seemed a bit of a mess on the first point.
Yeah, they simply just didn't get the frags on the first point. I don't know if they're used to SDCK playing like a bit more aggressive, but SDCK certainly they changed up their defense a little bit. They were far better just sitting back, absorbing the damage, playing around the sniper. And if the sniper doesn't go down on this first point, you know, he was up to a 13k red licks, you know, coming in for his first kind of genuine official. Obviously, he did play in that. The final last year when he came in as a super sub. This is the first time he's been on the starting roster. He was hitting everything, and when you can't dislodge that sniper, it's very, very difficult.
We'll have to see if Kuroi can perform the same sort of defense here with the support of his team as the suicides are coming in. Redlix gets taken down. A lot of damage going down onto SDCK players. Wambert has actually died though. He bleeds out. I'm guessing that was a guillotine coming from May there. So, Engineer dead, Teleport has been cleaned up, Sentry is, you know, gone. So yeah, I mean that's like a huge pick. That's bigger than any of the picks that Feila got when they were trying to throw their bodies in, and now they're starting to get some more kills. Kuroi going down is very, very big because no sniper means that they don't even have to use the Uber, and they force Layla as well. Oh no, she's getting pushed off the cliff. This is bullying, and she's dead.
Oh my god, absolute pinball. That was crazy. Literally air blasted into Murphy's pipes, pinballed off the cliff. You hate to see it. That is not what Feila wanted at all. I mean, it was a disastrous Uber. You know, as she did have the scout BB with her, but drops him in the Uber itself. Had the scout to leave, would have been a lot easier. But SDCK taking absolutely, as much as they could from just that one slight misplay from Layla there, completely punishing Feila, and not even contested on the second point now, all the way back to third. It's going to settle down for a little bit, but a large Uber advantage for SDCK.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, not only getting forced, but having that late death as well. Gedu's still at the 100%. I think he's still only on sort of 1 or 2 deaths here so far this game. Using the Uber on the slope very, very early on. We've seen how this can be pretty disastrous for teams because of how far the cart is. And you see Feila, they have control of this corner. They don't really have to worry. They just have the Pyro alive, pushing back. Grip does his job. And the Sentry is untouched, Layla is untouched. Now they have an Uber advantage, and SDCK have lost 4 players out of that exchange, including Redlix and Mezzo, so no big picks coming for at least a few seconds from them. SDCK still trying to push the cart across this little bridge here, so a long way to go. And I would have been much more happier to see them just holding that corner and kind of baiting Feila forward while they push the cart, and then use the Uber when and where, rather than just going balls deep in and getting nothing out of it. But they are going on the tracks now. 100% on Layla though, Dave, so if Feila want to get aggressive, they can.
Yeah, we can see Gedu's kind of flirting with the idea of committing to cart, but playing a very, very smart position medic mate. He can leave if he has to. Feila doing a good job of both denying the cart and holding on to this Uber. A lot of players go down for SDCK now without Feila even having to use, so they can get much more aggressive now. The cart isn't being moved whatsoever right now. Still a while before it ticks back, but all the position, all the presence from Feila are right back where they want.
Yeah, they used a conch here. Satan getting a little bit of aggressive, but none of his team really seem to want to join him. And the Uber has been used though. Gedu gets forced kind of early on, and it's only Yahoo involved in this Uber. They lose Clark and Poker, who've been trying to get some pressure elsewhere. They lose Dixos, Feila. They have no heavy on either side. Mezzo's just trying to push the car up. It's gone up the first 2 slopes. If he get up this final slope, it's going to be huge. But Joe is well aware that actually with the kill into Redlix means that now Kuroi has the freedom to snipe without fear of being counter-sniped. And this isn't looking too easy for SDCK right now. They seem to have the map control, but they just don't have the big picks enabling them to get forward. And Satan, on a 4 kill streak right now, is doing a grand job of just holding this high ground, watching the slope, watching the car. He's a man of many jobs, and he's staying alive and preventing SDCK from getting any pressure.
Oh, and that's Jackie Lex trying to come in through Banana, but Dixos does just about finish eating in order to clean up. A lot of position now for SDCK. Suddenly they've been able to take the corner, and Feila have decided to back out. I mean, they only had a couple of players down, but I think the key one was Joe going down just before that little kind of micro push came in. And, with no demo to deny the car, or, even to fight a post Uber, they really opted not to try and risk contesting there, and they've just gone back. They've got a nice hold on last now. It's even Ubers, so we might see some kind of sack wave from SDCK.
Yeah, I would have felt that, knowing that you've got a lot of time that you need to make up here. You have to make a decision there. You either get aggressive and try to hold on to third for even longer, because they seem to be doing it pretty well, or you do what they've done and play passive and try and get the time on last, which they seem to be very happy with. Wambert with the Sentry, level 3 in the window, so now that can watch the high ground, that supports your combo, and it's actually very hard to dislodge. You saw the suicide wave coming in from SDCK. They didn't really get anything done there, so now Feila just kind of chilling in this high ground with the majority of their team. Their flank just watching underneath. and SDCK kind of think of an angle to try and get towards Layla or get towards that sentry.
Well, there's currently no one watching this front stairs area. Satan is now just about spawned. We're able to pressure there. He's up against the Pyro now. A lot of damage goes down. We are going to see an Uber trade come in. It's nicely flashed onto Dicksource and Joe. Murphy barreling forward has to drop down to the low ground, and still all the high ground was controlled by Feila, but Layla goes down to the pipes from Murphy peeking from that little backstairs area. Now they're going to take control of upper, just 3 up for Feila as the cart is moving along nicely with Mezzo. It's just a gun and a sniper up. Not the best, I mean, good classes to deny the cart, but there's just a little bit too much presence. Axio comes in, kills Degu, but the cart is going to be moved along by the spawners coming in for SDCK, and they take the rank quite comfortably.
Quite comfortably indeed. Just over 4 minutes to go. Feila just not even holding one push worth there, and I was going to say that the weakness of that sentry gun at the top, while it does watch main, it does help your combo at top. SDCK did the perfect counter. Uber in and focus Wambert, focus the sentry. And once that sentry goes down, if you win that fight, then you now have free reign to push the cart. Your flanker can push the cart, knowing that your combo is dealing with the high ground and the game is up top, and you don't have a sentry on the spawn shooting you. And that enabled so much free cap time. Mezzo was literally there with his revolver out, just flinging bullets left, right, and center. Didn't have to worry about a sentry at all. That's, an extra player who's able to push the cart because of that. But the bigger difference, I think, between the two teams, when you look at the logs at least, we'll be showing the combined logs at the end of the round. But for this first round, Layla dies 8 times to Degu's 2. And if your medic is dying 4 times as many times as the opponent, it's pretty rough, because there was many failed Uber pushes on that first round. But we are into the second round now. The teams have swapped sides. It is the ABBA format, ABBA. So the team that was attacking first last time is now defending, and that means SDCK are in the blue. They'll be attacking, trying to set a time as fast as possible, and then Feila eSports in the red will be defending and then trying to beat that time. If Feila do beat the time in this second round, then we'll be going on to a third golden cap round. However, if SDCK do actually win this round, then they'll be taking it 2-0, taking the full line share of the 6 points. And Dave, that's going to have big implications, don't you think? Because last season, Feila were actually the top seeds going into the final. They had the map pick advantage. But to have the arguably the top 2 teams in Europe going head-to-head in the first week, and if you lose without getting a point, then SDCK have a huge advantage going in for the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely not only points on the table, but also a big mental advantage. I also think this season, the other top teams seem to have stepped up a little bit. It seems like this VVV roster looks very, very strong. Gator have come in this season as well. Looks stronger in Vision and the qualifiers as well. You've got all these strong teams coming in, so it might be a little bit more of a competition for Feila and SDCK to kind of for these first 2 spots and potentially lower playoffs of spots as well. So any points that either of them, certainly any points that Feila can get here after losing this first round, they'll be happy with.
Yeah, I mean, any points are good points, because there's no guarantee you're going to win the rest of your games throughout the entire season. But that first suicide wave is only going to get Joe. So that sentry is still alive. Wambert doesn't get bled to death this time around. Layla still has that dispenser body armor to keep her safe. But Joe down, no sticky traps, no spam. He's just spawning now. Corona 3 kill streak takes down Redlick. So Uber used very early on Murphy. We could call them the Murbies. I don't know. Murphy Uber. It's going to be traded on the high ground. Gedu just backing up to a safer place. Poker did get taken down there. A pretty kind of neutral trade there, although the sentry has been sapped here, and it might go down, Dave.
Yeah, it looks like it will go down, but Feila did something there which is much more important. They took a much more aggressive stance in terms of retrading that Uber back, so they didn't lose any, they didn't drop any players, and they got a much better post Uber position, so Layla couldn't be chased out as we saw in the first round. There was a lot of opportunity for SDCK to push through this flank. It seems to be open an awful lot. We've now seen Murphy, Yahoo and Gedu all opt to go over this side, and now Murphy's been able to take Playground completely alone, and with the players down for Feila, they've decided to back out to second point, and they're just going to try and set up from here.
Yeah, the telly was down, so the respawns couldn't come in, but the big pick was JackeyLegs running that direct hit. You know, obviously good for taking down sentries, but gets a crispy little air shot onto Wamba with those mini crits. And Engineer down seems to be the trigger for the back out, but no, Layla is off the cliff again. It's deja vu as there's an Uber trade in the sides tunnel there on second, and Yahoo just comes blasting through, air blasting that is, and just forces Layla off the cliff. There is 4 players left alive here for Feila, and none of them are their medic. So Wamba with the level 3 up. Karoy has been getting a pretty decent kill streak. He's on a 7th kill streak right now. He's been doing a decent enough job, but there's only so much you can do as an individual if half of your team gets wiped out by an air blast.
Yeah, and partly through that as well, Gedu, Axia got an opportunity to click onto Gedu. Gedu's now gone really low from aggressive play from Grip, but it was just a little attempt at some kind of force or sack play for the medic coming out. It almost worked. He got so much damage down, but didn't quite secure that frag. And SDCK still have a little bit of an Uber advantage. They do have to be quite sharpish with it as the window is closing.
Yeah, Uber is going to be used. SDCK again doing this similar strat of trying to get aggressive on the corner, and it's going to be air blasting of Murphy this time as Grip just launches him off the edge of the map. So again, SDCK taking an aggressive Uber on third here with their advantage, and again they don't get anything done. No sentry, no medic. Mezzo is just lurking around trying to blend in. Joe falls for it, and he gets the backstab, Dave.
Oh my god, the acting from Mezzo, he's absolutely one of the best. This kind of classic pub spy style acting, but it can work at the top level as well when you're as good as Mezzo. Completely falls through that. That is, just the embarrassment of falling for that disguise leg. But also the crucial pick, the demo puts so much damage and cart denial out on this third point. And, with Joe down, while SDCK don't have as many players as they would like, they're moving the cart all along. But actually, you see Gedu going down to Karoy, who is being super aggressive.
Yeah, Mezzo gets the backstab onto Karoy, but it's just not quick enough. And yeah, Gedu dying, that's the first death for him so far in this round. And that's going to definitely stunt things. I mean, Lado's been sat on 100% for a while now, just kind of chilling. SDCK do get the cart up those first 2 annoying slopes. So now they've got to try and get up that final slope. We saw how much, kind of, not an issue, but it took them the longest time on all of the round for them to get it up this area, because it's easily defended by multiple people. You see Karoy is shooting it, the Sentry is shooting it, Joe is spamming it, but the Uber is going to be used by Layla, and it doesn't really achieve anything. Everyone in SDCK is alive, and they're continuing to push this car. I don't know why they used the Uber there, Dave. Can you enlighten me?
I honestly didn't see, but none of the players were able to even peek round the house when the Uber was popped out. So, I don't know, perhaps a bit forced, Layla, or it was a fat finger or something. Yeah,
maybe. I don't really know, but that's going to give 100% adds to Gedu. He's going to use that. They're going to go forward. They get Grip. They get Joe. They're still chasing Layla through main. Can Yahoo get that final lick of damage? He can. Flames her down, and that's 3 up now for Feila. They've got a few respawns coming in, but most importantly, the defensive classes, Pyro, Demo, NG, and Medic, they're all dead, and those are the players that you want alive on this last point. Satan, with some decent damage onto Murphy, is going to stop him from pushing and getting aggressive, and he's trying to hold this place up top all by himself, and against this onslaught, finally goes down to Redlegs. But it's going to be a passive sentry. Karoy gets taken down by Redlegs. This is just constant W right now. This is going to be a real struggle. Feila on the low ground, but Joe gets 3.
Wow. I don't know how that could even happen. That is crazy. I mean, they are just 3 up now for Feila, and all those players are on low health now. So while Joe has been able to delay the cart a little bit, just peeking through main, it's still very, very much against them. SDCK piling players onto the cart, Joe having to contest it pretty much alone. BB now comes in to try and get something going, but it will be pushed in. 6:33, pretty decent time.
I mean, it was all against them. They were playing on the low ground, but Joe getting 3 kills there, just totally denying anything else. You'd hope that your team would be able to maybe rally around that and get something done, but Layla gets body shot by Redlix, who was, given the time and the space. 6:33 is probably more what we're accustomed to time-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, as you say, like Joe just going a crazy hero play, picking up all those frags. But at the end of the day, SDCK had complete control of the upper area, and that when you're trying to pressure with your combo through main, it doesn't really matter how many frags you get. You still have all those disadvantages, and all those players eventually went down for Feila, and with just a couple of players up, you're not going to be able to stop that cart from moving into the pit.
Absolutely, and I would say this is kind of This is close. The pressure is definitely on the side of Feila. I mean, only being 1 round down, it's understandable, but 6, it's a good time. And when they're probably thinking in their minds, it took us over 5 minutes to push first. They're going to expect to do better this time. Generally, you improve on your pushing abilities as the game goes on, but they can't make very many mistakes here. And if they do, then SDCK can just play that passive style. They're going all the way out first off, though. Uber is used very, very early on, trying to get the force. They do get the force onto Gedu. Lots of flashing going on, but Feila are actually in a decent position here. Dixos trying to tank that damage walking forward, but Joe is going to get cleaned up just by May running forward there. And SDCK again happy to sit back underneath these set of stairs, Dave, and just soak up the damage, soak up the pressure.
Yeah, and you can see what Feila want to do. They want to take this trade in and then get a really, really successful repush, but they're just not winning the damage trades during this repush. I don't know what it is, whether they can't get the players that they want into the position with the sniper up. But Kuroi is down now, and Redlix has complete freedom to snipe whatever he wants, and players are just dropping for Feila right now.
Yeah, they lose so many players. May cleans up Layla, so no Uber. They really just have to sit back, reset now, and readjust. Redlix is still in the spawn queue. That's going to give Kuroi maybe a little bit of time and space to get something done. But I don't know, maybe goes for some suicides. They've got to do something to get rid of this Uber in the hands of Gedu. I'm looking at the teleporter, and it is still up. So that means the respawns are able to just come in very freely for SDCK, and maybe some focus needs to go on that. Mezzo gets later again, so this Uber advantage is just sitting at 100%, and it's not budging because Gedu's not getting forced and Layla's not living.
Yeah, I mean, it denies them any opportunity of getting potentially getting a force and getting an Uber advantage out, but it also it stifles their push for a while. We say it doesn't potentially matter too much your minute going down on this first point. You're not giving up an advantage so much, but the Uber's now going to come out from SDCK. A couple of players cleaned up, Joe especially being an important one, but they do decide they don't want to chase all the way here on SDCK, so it's a little bit of an advantage here for Feila, but they are in fact up on the crits.
Yeah, Axio taking down Redlix, so no sniper. They don't have to worry about getting picked off, which is always an issue with the crits. You're not invulnerable, so people can just run at you and kill you. Sentry, everything's going down there in regards to buildings. So SDCK have backed off here. I just wonder if Meta's given them the intel about the fact that they're on crits. We see Joe just reloading his stickies on the slope, getting ready to push. Kedu doesn't have Uber, so if he lands that perfect sticky right where it's supposed to, here it comes. It's going to go in. It gets Gedu. That is medic down, and that's one step. Sentry's also gone down here, and the rest of the SDCK players are trying to push the cart, maybe get in the fight on the objective, but BB is going to out-DM Jackie Legs there. Joe is still running forward. They're just cleaning up here, and now Feila have a real chance.
Murphy got in behind through as he was leaving through the tunnel, was trying to go for a play up to Layla, but just misses his pipe. So uncharacteristic of him. Can't land the pipes that he wanted on an unsuspecting Layla. So they aren't able to kind of get that crucial medfrag. We are seeing the crits coming up again for Feila. Pretty sharpish here. The car is moving all the way as you'd want from Feila's point of view, and there's suddenly the momentum is completely changed. It's just 2 minutes and 40, but with the crits up now, it's really back in their favour.
It really is, and Redlick's going down there to Joe. The crits coming in, they're trying to get some more kills. The stickies are just about missing though. Poker and Redlicks and Mez are all down, so no picks coming out of that. The sniper sidelines are free for Kuroya now. He's getting pressured a lot. He's pretty weak. I think maybe gets killed off here, but he just before getting killed takes down Clark. So that sentry is just ripe for the plucking, which Joe does before falling down the death hole. It's just trades all over the place here. Jackie Legs with the conch, that thing that he loves to use, and has worked so well for him for many years now. They're getting aggressive with the Uber now. Layla is being chased by May. May will not let go of W until either she or he dies, and Layla lives with 30 HP.
Oh, and I said a little bit of a soldier MG underneath. Jackie Legs will get cleaned up, so the crits is going to come back in. Not many targets. Murphy goes super weak. Joe getting juggled. He gets juggled off during his crits by Murphy. Murphy does feed a little bit, but Layla is suddenly so weak. Poker gets cleaned up. The car is moving. The time is ticking down all the way. But Feila do have position now. If they can just get a little bit of aggression, they are going to be able to take it into last pretty soon. I don't think there's going to be contesting from SDCK. We're down to 1 minute and 12 seconds on the clock. Layla's up to 60% crit streak. It's going to be all or nothing here for Feila with this final crits.
They know Layla hasn't died, so they know she's still running the crits. SDCK will obviously be playing accordingly. They'll be trying to spread themselves out, making sure that they get on that crits early on. It's going to be used on the stairs. The stickies are flying up. Yahoo has taken a ton of damage. Getty has actually lived, and I don't think this crits has actually got any kills. Get him dancing around. He avoids that crit pipe. He's underneath. Runs into BB, who will gracefully take that kill, but the rest of the damage is going in the side of SDCK here. Murphy and May just cleaning up and combining to get a bunch of kills. May with the 4K right now, just cleaning up those weak players. And Feila now have 20 seconds to play with. They have to get on the cart now. They cannot hold back. Dixos gets headshot by Redlicks there, and that may be it as it's 15 seconds to go. SDCK are just putting stickies on the cart. They're just chilling. Mezzo's standing on the cart. They're just trying to hold as best they can. I think this might be it, Dave.
Yeah, just 3 seconds. Jackie Legs with the conch, shooting everyone on the cart. A little bit contested from May, but just enough of a defense coming out from SDCK. Real squeaky bum time there. But they do take the round, and that is a 2-0 victory for SDCK. They will take all 6 points.
Well, what to say? That was close. That was completely doable for Feila there. I mean, after that first round, that first point, we did think that SDCK were just looking, okay, they've got this in the bag. And then that first phase on the second round, putting up a decent time. Feila struggling, losing players on first. And the first thing that jumps out to me is top fragging on the server. Redlick's getting 40, but Yahoo also getting 40 as well. 6 teams in Prem, 5 weeks of matches, and then of course we have the playoffs to decide the final champion. We also have plenty of other TF2 on crit stars coming up. We will have not only the Highlander, but we also have the Sixes Nations Cup. We'll be covering some of those games. There'll be one tomorrow, England versus Finland, 2 former heavyweights of the Nations Cup. Will they be able to show that they still have it with their current crop of players? There's not really much else to say. Follow us on social media. We have YouTube. You can check out our VODs there, Twitter, Discord, and Patreon, of course, if you want to support the channel. Supporting the channel helps pay the production and casting staff. All of the people who do the work for Chriscast do get a nice little bonus for helping out. Buy some merch as well, merch.chriscast.com, where you can buy shirts, hoodies, posters, stickers, and all sorts of things to support the channel. Thank you for watching the first match of many for this season, and I hope you all have a great evening.
Hi-oh, Beaver! Away!